Welcome, Irish fans, to this week's special Citrus Bowl edition of Inside Notre Dame Football with Brian Kelly. I'm Jack Nolan. Coming to you this week from one of the video control rooms in the new Martin Media Center attached to Notre Dame Stadium. On this week's show, we will preview Notre Dame's first ever appearance in the New Year's Day Citrus Bowl and Notre Dame's opponent LSU, but we will also take a look back at a season that saw the Irish put together one of the top turnarounds in Notre Dame history. Not only have the Irish already recorded 5 more wins than last season against one of the toughest schedules in the nation, they made the biggest one-year statistical improvement in school history, jumping from 80th in rushing yards per game last season to 7th this season. Defensively, the Irish improved in virtually every area and held their opponents to under 22 points a game. I asked Coach Kelly what the focus should be on when reviewing the 2017 regular season.
The move from 4 wins to 9 wins, to get 5 more wins during a season is very difficult. And to do that, you have to have great leadership. You have to have everybody on your staff fully committed, moving in the right direction to move that needle from 4 to 9 with the kind of schedule that we play. So I think that that's probably the biggest thing that we can take away. People could, manage the season down to the last quarter and say, wow, we wish we would have finished stronger. But we had to use so much energy to move this program from 4 to 9 that's really the story, is that great leadership, great commitment from our players, a staff that bought into what was important at the time, and that was bringing this program back to a standard of excellence.
How confident were you back in August that this team would get back into the playoff conversation and, in fact, end up in a New Year's Day Bowl?
I was confident that we could immediately bring this program back to where it should be, because there was still a very good foundation. The foundation hadn't eroded. It needed to be resurfaced, maybe. We had to make some adjustments along the way, and I think every business or organization has to recalibrate. And so it was much more of a recalibration than it was a rebuild, if you will. So I was confident. We had to have some things really in place early on, and that was the leadership component. And I think that developed to be a strong piece for us.
And you overhauled the coaching staff. It was the biggest overhaul of any coaching staff since I've been here. That covers 3 decades by the same coach. Did you expect it to come together as quickly as it did? Because the staff's just like the team. They have to work together, and they seemed like they did very well.
Well, I think I needed to be very intentional in the hiring process to make sure that I didn't feel time to wait for this group to gel. They needed to gel immediately. So I was pretty intentional in terms of who I hired to make sure that would happen.
There is no sport that has a larger group of participants than football. And one word I heard a lot this year was trust. Trust your teammates, trust the process, trust yourself. How well did this team do in terms of trust?
I thought we built that in January and February with the way that we presented ourselves to our team, coaches, staff, that we were really in it to build them to be the best they could be. So we got that back from our team in the way that they prepared and the way that they played. So, that trust is a mirror in the sense that, you've got to earn the trust to get it back. And I think that we earned the trust of our players in the way that we prepared them in January, February, March, April, May, and June. And then we start to see that payback in the way that they trusted their teaching and trusted each other and the coaches during the fall.
Obviously, the win number is the big focus, but what else pleased you the most about this season?
I think our mental preparation. I think the way our guys prepared themselves, not only in the weight room and certainly not only in their practice, but I love the way that they prepared themselves mentally to go and dominate opponents. And they really took it to a number of the opponents, and in particular our rival this year in USC. That's a mindset that we needed to develop that we didn't have in the previous year. As you know, we lost 7 games in the previous season that we were either tied or ahead leading into the fourth quarter. So it was really important that we developed a mindset and a mental preparation to this team, and I was really proud of the way that they really bought into that and developed that during the season.
The spotlight here shines brightly on you and your quarterback, and the fans expect flawless play from a quarterback. But when you consider this is his first year as a starting quarterback, he did a lot of things well and maybe didn't do some things as well as he thought he would.
He would be the first to tell you that he didn't throw the ball the way he can throw the football. He has all of the tools, but he didn't throw it to the level he's capable of. But he willed himself to play at a high level in all of our games. 30 touchdowns, during the regular season is still great work. 9-3, a chance to win 10, big victories over your rival. That's a pretty good start. If this is the low part of Brandon Wimbush's career at Notre Dame, I think our fans are going to be pretty happy at the outcome.
You made it clear way back in January and February that the bar's high around here, so you expect elite performance. But were there position groups, were there individual players who exceeded even your expectations?
I think that you and I heard most of the talk about the preseason about the weakness of the defensive line, and that certainly wasn't the case. They were at times one of our strengths. Our front seven played very, very well, and in particular the defensive line. I think Mike Elston did an incredible job of really developing that group to play at a high level week in and week out. So I think I would point to them as, that surprise group, if you will.
Not necessarily surprising, but Quentin Nelson, unanimous All-American, Mike McGlinchey, consensus All-American. Sometimes it's hard to live up to expectations, and they not only did that, they may have exceeded them a little bit as well.
Well, I would agree. I think both of them were projected to be, late first rounders, maybe, a second round, but no later than early in the second round. And that's hard to make a decision to give that up. But they wanted to come back to take this program back to where it should be. They led by example. They were the hardest workers. They were setting the tone. They were setting the bar as to where they wanted everybody else to reach to. And so they also had great seasons because of that. And they have put themselves in a position to not only bring this program back to where it needed to be, but now have put themselves in a position to succeed at the next level.
The greatest statistical improvement in a single category in Notre Dame history. You went from 80th in rushing last year to 7th this year. We've talked about the offensive line, but you still have to have running backs who are making the reads, hitting the holes, and led by Josh Adams. But it wasn't just Josh, they did it.
Yeah, there's no question. Josh got off to an incredible start, buoyed by that left side, and Quentin Nelson was dominating. Mike McGlinchey, Sam Mustipher, Alex Bars, and then our right side, our tandem tackle of Tommy Kramer and Robert Haynes. He did an incredible job. Not to mention Durham Smythe at the tight end position. All of those guys cumulative together with Josh Adams. And Brandon Woodbush, for that matter. His ability to read the option. All of them come together, to put together one of the finer rushing years that Notre Dame's had in quite some time.
No team played more regular season games against teams ranked in the final college football playoff rankings than Notre Dame, 6. And no team had more wins than the Irish over CFP-ranked teams, 3. It was a season of many highlights, but somehow Inside Notre Dame producer Zach Dudka has condensed the best plays of the year for Notre Dame into 4 action-packed minutes of video.
We can't control what happened last year. We can really only control our attitude now, our focus now, an opportunity to showcase our total preparation.
Notre Dame with a whole new look in their operation of their football team, with new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, Brian Polian back to coach special teams.
Have that mindset that we talked about, dominating your opponent today.
I want this unit to be the tip of the spear today, leading the charge for us to get our next chapter as a team.
We're all in it together. Just trust each other. We got each other's back.
We play our asses off for each other today.
It's time to go. unleash it.
For the first time in 2017, here come the Irish. This young man, Wimbush, the 6'1" junior from New Jersey, can run. Wimbush in the open field. Wimbush makes a man miss. Stays alive. Stays on his feet.
He's got the first down. He's got the sideline. Wimbush weaves his way inside the 40.
All the way home. He's gone. Touchdown Notre Dame. Brandon Wimbush is having a night. Firing end zone. It is touchdown. Equanimous St. Brown. Bush rips it. It is called touchdown. Kevin Stefferson puts it up top to the end zone. Caught for the Nick Wisher touchdown.
Like a Swiss watch, this offense. Perfect movement.
Yeah! Yes!
You're too old to see how we can be, man. Let's go.
Win the game of details, because that's how we prepare. That's part of our process.
Ragland firing downfield. Intercepted by Notre Dame.
Greer Martini. Out fumble. Recovered by Notre Dame.
And Crawford's going to win that fight. And picked up. Watch out. Julian Love. Touchdown.
Let's go.
Picked off by Nick Watkins.
Tipped ball. And it's intercepted. Picked off on the carom. Rush comes straight through. No chance for Surratt.
This drive.
On the way down, he lost the football. And Notre Dame gets a takeaway.
Fromm brought down. Niles Morgan. It up, and it's intercepted by Troy Pride Jr.
You give them hope, they'll get back into this football game.
Win your battle. Win it down.
We are living in the moment of history right now. We've been trained for this opportunity. We've been waiting for this opportunity.
There goes Josh. Big run, Adams. 30 yards, 35 yards. Another home run. Adams on the run again. Another huge touchdown. He's gone. Touchdown again, Josh Adams. No way.
Dexter Williams. Bursting, cutting, turning up and turning in. McIntosh go all the way in.
Finds some room inside the 10. Touchdown Irish.
Persistence in the offensive line.
Tony Jones Jr. running free.
Fourth rushing touchdown of the day, and he's got it.
Jones who takes it into the end zone. And again, that left side paves the way for a Notre Dame touchdown.
This is a team that has great endurance and great perseverance.
Sixth-ranked rushing defense against one of the top rushing offenses. Something's got to give. Something give!
Josh Adams literally ran into Heisman Trophy consideration this season with some of the most spectacular runs in Notre Dame football history. Josh recorded 7 runs of at least 60 yards this season and 4 rushes of at least 70 yards, both led the nation. Adams ended up just 51 yards short of Vegas Ferguson's single-season Notre Dame rushing record and now stands 5th all-time in career rushing yards. It takes a special focus and dedication to turn in this kind of performance at the highest level of college football. Here is a look at the many ingredients that went into the stellar season of Josh Adams.
When the ball is snapped, there's no time to think. Just react. Training kicks in, instincts take over.
Come on, Doc. Get up. Come on, Doc.
There's no taking easy way out. Nobody said there was an easy way when my mom was working 2 jobs to get me and my brother and sister through school. I'm not taking the easy way out.
Family on 2, 1, 2.
But if you could slow me down, what would it sound like? Pre-snap read. Scan the field. Locate the free safety. Don't give away tendencies. Side zone. 2 power shuffles. Downhill. Read the backside A to B. Front side lead. Hips low. Explode. Run. Fast. Faster. Power. Cut. Quick. Confidence. For God. For my family.
It's for my family.
For my team. If there's an award for that, cool.
This year's Fighting Irish squad made selecting the Notre Dame Ticket Exchange Vivid Seats Play of the Week an enjoyable but not necessarily easy task because most weeks we had a large pool of candidate plays to pick from. But no player earned the honor more in 2017 than Josh Adams. So it is appropriate that the final Play of the Week segment of the season is a montage of some of the great runs by Adams this fall.
There goes Josh. Big run, Adams. 30 yards, 35 yards. Another home run. Adams on the run again. Another huge touchdown. He's gone. Touchdown again, Josh Adams. 84 yards.
It's time now for the experts at TireRack.com question of the week for Coach Kelly. This week's question comes from longtime viewer Matthew Ewell of Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Coach, could you talk about Niles Morgan and what he has meant to your program for the last 4 years?
Many doubted that he would come. He was going to go down south to play, but didn't listen to all that recruiting nonsense and said, I'm going to go where it's going to best suit me for the rest of my life. So I'm so proud of his decision to come to Notre Dame from Crete-Monee High School, get a degree, and be an impact player for Notre Dame football at the middle linebacker position.
The Notre Dame LSU matchup in the New Year's Day Citrus Bowl is being talked about as one of the most compelling matchups of this year's bowl season. Here are Coach Kelly's keys to an Irish win.
We have to carve out a running game. I mean, it's too difficult to just go out there and think that we're going to throw the ball all over the place. They play man-to-man coverage. This starts with our ability to run the football. And then on the other side of the ball, we've got to get lined up. A lot of motioning, a lot of trading, a lot of window dressing, if you will. We've got to be fundamentally sound, keep the ball within the defense, tackle very well. I think if you just take those two things right there, tackle well on defense and run the football.
That will do it for the 8th season of Inside Notre Dame Football with Brian Kelly. We, of course, will be back for season number 9 next fall, beginning with a look at Notre Dame's season opener with Michigan. Until then, sincere thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in each week this season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and as always, go Irish.
Inside Notre Dame Football is presented by TireRack.com and brought to you by Team Notre Dame partners, Coca-Cola, Under Armour, and Gatorade. Inside Notre Dame Football is also brought to you by Bank of America, the official bank of Notre Dame Athletics, Vivid Seats, Canon, Xfinity, Delta Airlines, proud to be the official airline of Notre Dame Athletics, Nissan, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, and SiriusXM.